The Revolutionary Army is an extremely powerful military organization led by Monkey D. Dragon. Originally known as the Freedom Fighters before assuming their current name, they are the only force in the world that directly opposes the world government and seek to dismantle it. They are particularly against the world nobles of Mary Geoise who control and benefit from the corruption of the world government. Supreme Commander of Revolutionary Army Monkey D. Dragon. Monkey D. Dragon, also known as the Rebellious Dragon, is the infamous Supreme Commander of the Revolutionary Army and one of its founding members, as well as formerly the captain of the Freedom Fighters. He used to be part of the Marines but became disillusioned with the organization's outlook on justice. This, along with the fallout from the O'Hara incident, sparked Dragon's desire to attempt to overthrow the world government, with his endeavors ultimately causing him to be labeled the world's worst criminal. Dragon is the father of Monkey D. Luffy and the son of Monkey D. Garp, having been born in the Goa Kingdom just like them. He was also responsible for saving Sabo's life after the latter had almost drowned from a world noble attack, eventually turning the boy into his second-in-command. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon is dedicated to dismantling the world government and its corrupt nobility system that allows its world nobles to oppress lower-class citizens as they please. He considers the corrupt nobility in his homeland of the Goa Kingdom to be the same problem on a smaller scale and was enraged when their self-serving actions caused an innocent noble boy like Sabo to denounce them. When he rescued Sabo the next day from being attacked by a world noble's ship, Dragon was shown with a powerful glare of anger on his face. Dragon prizes information and knowing his enemies, taking care to stay informed as head of a seasoned spy ring about as many world affairs and events as possible, while educating his subordinates about relevant pieces as their missions allow. A realist at heart, Dragon knows his movement is small and almost insignificant compared to the power of the world government and is quick to caution his subordinates against celebrating small victories given how much work is still to be done. Dragon's personal life and history are written in near invisible ink even to his subordinates and confidants, as he did not tell anyone in the Revolutionary Army that he was Garp's son or Luffy's father. Dragon is protective of his allies and the innocent and is almost as unforgiving as Sakazuki to those he considers having done wrong to them, stating he would not forgive Sabo if he really had killed Nefertari Cobra during the Leveille no matter the reason, as killing regular royals is not part of the Revolutionary Army's goals. While he is not shy about using violence to achieve his aims, Dragon does not appear to enjoy it or go to the extremes like a buster call which the world government is willing to engage with. As Supreme Commander of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon has the greatest authority over a powerful, globally active paramilitary that has risen to become a prominent threat to the expansive, centuries-old world government in only a few years. Dragon's actions have given him the distinction of being the world's worst criminal, yet he has managed to lead a largely secure existence despite the world's greatest powers being after him. After Luffy tells Emporio Ivankov that Ace is his brother, the Okama Queen greatly fears the possibility of the world government warring against Dragon along with Whitebeard. Dragon's infamy is so great that when Sengoku made Dragon's relationship with Luffy public, this caused panic in almost everyone present, including high-ranking members of the government, the warlord of the sea, Gecko Moria, several infamous pirates from Impel Down, and even some of Whitebeard's pirates, also having been enough for Luffy to be instantly marked as a dangerous future element, and some Marines began to prioritize their elimination above that of Whitebeard's crew and the Emperor. Although his individual combat abilities are largely unknown, he is able to command extremely powerful army officials, like his Chief of Staff Sabo and the 5 commanders, who have all been seen battling and defeating notable pirates and Marines in the Grand Line. Dragon himself was able to grab Smoker's jit when the Marine captain was preparing to use it on Luffy, quickly stopping him in his tracks, and despite Dragon's great criminal status, Smoker was not seen making the effort to try and apprehend him. Additionally, Ivankov noted that Luffy's inhuman will to live in Impel Down made sense for the son of Dragon, indicating that Dragon has a similar level of tenacity. While at the Goa Kingdom and Lode Town, strong blasts of wind have occurred in close proximity to Dragon, which have helped him accomplish his objectives in both places. It remains unconfirmed if Dragon was directly responsible for these wind blasts or if he has a power enabling him to create them due to an unknown devil fruit. Additionally, Dragon was somehow able to reach Sabo's ship as it was sinking far off the coast of Dawn Island and grab him right before he sank, without drawing attention from any onlookers. Chief of Staff Sabo. Flame Emperor Sabo is the Revolutionary Army's Chief of Staff, recognized as the number 2 of the entire organization and outranked only by Supreme Commander Monkey D. Dragon. He is also the sworn brother of the notorious pirates Monkey D. Luffy and the late Portgas D. Ace. Raised in nobility by his parents Outlook III and did it in the Goa Kingdom, Sabo ran away at the age of 10 with the intention of becoming a pirate and writing a book about his travels and met Ace and Luffy while living as a vagabond in Grey Terminal. He tried to set sail just a few months afterward to get away from his family, but had his ship destroyed by the world noble Saint Jalmac. He was saved by Dragon but lost his memory in the process, and so devoted his life to the service of the Revolutionary Army. However, his memories would return 10 years later after hearing about Ace's death. 2 years after regaining his memories, Sabo would reunite with Luffy and also carry Ace's legacy by consuming his devil fruit, the Mara Mara no Mi. He currently has a bounty of belly 602 million. According to Luffy, Sabo is a nicer older brother than Ace. He acknowledged Luffy's powers, and even encouraged his improvement. He helped Ace and Luffy get along when they were fighting, thus being the nice, diplomatic one of the trio. At age 22, Sabo has retained much of his old personality, although he appears to have adapted many mannerisms from Luffy, including his brother's tendency to mispronounce the names of others. Moreover, his tendency to hang up the den den mushi in the middle of a call rather annoys his comrades. He has also displayed an immensely fierce protective streak towards Luffy, to the point where he will disregard everything he is currently doing if he feels that Luffy is in any sort of danger, including his duties in the Revolutionary Army. Despite his recklessness and protective streak, Sabo demonstrates a pragmatic attitude in regards to his reputation and deeds as a revolutionary as shown when he reluctantly complied with Nefertari Cobra's plea to escape from Imu and the Five Elders' assault to inform Dragon about the true ruler of the world government. He also accepted being publicly condemned for assassinating a prominent royal due to bolster the action provided for the Revolutionary Army's approval by the general public. As the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo has command over all lower-ranking members, with only one direct superior, Supreme Commander Dragon, to answer to. Even when he had not yet eaten a devil fruit, he rose to the position of second-in-command and was able to take on Diamante, a top executive of the Don Quixote Pirates, as well as Jesus Burgess, the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates' first ship and one of their strongest members, without any difficulty. After eating the Mara Mara no Mi, his power increased. He took on Admiral Fujitora and came out with only a few bruises, although Sabo suspected the admiral was holding back. Later, Sabo faced Burgess again and defeated him very easily. According to Ace, who initially planned for Sabo to become his navigator, Sabo also has some experience in navigation. After joining the Revolutionary Army, Sabo was personally trained by Hack and Monkey D. Dragon and attained immense physical potential. Of all the child revolutionaries who were soldiers in training, only Sabo excelled in the Revolutionary Army's rigorous combat training regimen, and Hack said that he does not need to be trained. Sabo has impressive stealth skills, being able to move through Pangaea Castle and make it to the empty throne room. He was able to hide his presence from Imu and the Five Elders until he made his move, shocking them since none of them noticed Sabo at all. After escaping Imu and the Five Elders, he was soon able to get out of Mary Geoise and stowaway on the Lugia Kingdom ship without getting detected, all while being badly injured. Sabo ate the Mara Mara no Mi, a Logio-type devil fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform his body into fire. He initially showed difficulty controlling his powers, which is typically displayed by new devil fruit users. He also mentions that he still has not grown fully accustomed to his new ability just yet, since he still has a habit of dodging attacks, despite now being a Logia user. He has adapted to his new abilities quickly and has since undergone training and practice to master his powers. Sabo has shown great mastery in the usage of Busashoko Haki, which he can imbue into his arm or his pipe. His mastery of this type of Haki is superior to that of Burgess, the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates' first ship, as he broke Burgess's Haki-infused right arm armor. Sabo possesses the ability to use Kenbunchiko Haki, as he sensed that Luffy's Haki had become weak during the battle with Doflamingo, and he dodged multiple bullets that were fired at him. Commanders of Revolutionary Army. The forces of the Revolutionary Army are divided into 5 armies, each of which operate in a specific region of the world. The G Army operates in the Grand Line, the North Army operates in the North Blue, the East Army operates in the East Blue, the South Army operates in the South Blue, and the West Army operates in the West Blue. Each army is led by an army commander, and each commander has a deputy commander who assists them. Commander of the South Army. Lindbergh. Lindbergh is a catmink and the commander of the South Army in the Revolutionary Army. Lindbergh seems to greatly enjoy combat, as he was excited to hear about the Revolutionary Army's upcoming fight against the world nobles. He likes to test his new weapons out in battle and was annoyed when Morley started attacking first. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Lindbergh holds a very powerful position in the organization, and as the commander of the South Army, he has control over all its soldiers. Lindbergh has received a bounty of belly 316 million, proving how dangerous the world government sees him. As a member of the Mink tribe, Lindbergh is a natural-born warrior and is capable of using electro. He is also able to transform into his Sulong form when he sees the full moon, though it is unknown if he can control it. Lindbergh is a highly skilled and talented inventor, having created weapons and gadgets of advanced technology that he uses for combat. He could create laser weapons which only genius engineers such as Vegapunk, Queen and Frankie could create. Lindbergh has a jetpack that enables him to fly. Lindbergh has expert marksmanship with his cool shooter, able to aim precisely only at the weapons of the Blackbeard Pirates, leaving them unharmed for the Lulusia citizens to defeat themselves. He also accurately shot through the chains of the world noble slaves with his laser shooter. Lindbergh possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the West Army Morley. Morley of Fur is a giant and a newcomer, as well as the commander of the West Army in the Revolutionary Army. Morley's existence was first alluded by Emporio Ivankov during the Impel Down arc, as the one responsible for the creation of Newcomer land. As a newcomer, Morley speaks in a very polite and feminine manner. She usually has a very jovial attitude and dislikes those who are unnecessarily violent. When she sees people paying attention to her, she constantly wonders if it is because they have a crush on her, not knowing why they would do so otherwise. However, she does not seem too fond of others being attracted to her, having been grossed out when Betty jokingly implied that the men of the Blackbeard Pirates had a crush on her. Her loyalty to Dragon was shown when she refused to tell Admirals Ryakuju and Fujitora where Dragon was. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Morley holds a powerful position in the organization, and as the commander of the West Army, she has full control over the soldiers in it. Don Quixote da Flamingo even pictured her as one of the key figures in the Revolutionary Army. The world government has given her a bounty of belly 293 million, showing how dangerous a threat to them she is. She is a capable fighter, as she was able to fight against Admiral Ryakuju during the latest levely and managed to get out safely and unharmed. As a giant, Morley possesses tremendous physical strength and a longer lifespan when compared to humans. Because of her size, she is able to move very large sections of the ground with her devil fruit power. Morley wields a large harpoon trident hybrid, which she uses in conjunction with her devil fruit power to move the ground. Morley ate the Ashiashi no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to push and mold the ground as if it were made of clay. Using this power, she can easily move underground, as well as attack enemies by pushing clumps of ground onto them, as it seems to otherwise maintain its original weight and hardness. Morley possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the East Army Bello Betty. Bello Betty is the commander of the East Army in the Revolutionary Army. Betty treats the people she helps very rudely, insulting them and only referring to them with degrading terms. Despite this attitude, her intention is still to recruit them into the Revolutionary Army by encouraging them to make their own choices. She believes that committing heroic actions is a decision one makes for themselves. When the people of Lulusia Kingdom took up arms and fought, she broke her normal attitude briefly to commend them on their actions. Despite her rude and disrespectful attitude, she does share with her fellow executives the same feelings of mercy and a desire to help those who are in trouble. Also, she does show respect and appreciation to those who stand to fight their own enemies and troubles, as she warmly smiled and proudly praised the people of Lulusia Kingdom for standing up and fighting the Blackbeard Pirates. As a Revolutionary Army executive, Betty is in a powerful position within the organization. As commander of the East Army, she has control over all the soldiers in it. The world government has given her a bounty of belly 457 million, proving that she is a significant threat to their operations. Betty is an extremely charismatic orator. With her devil fruit powers, she inspires numerous people to fight. Morley called Betty the flag bearer of freedom for her skills. Betty ate the Kobu Kobu no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to encourage and rally people into fighting, increasing their resolve and physical strength in the process. She activates her power by speaking encouraging words to her targets. Once someone has been encouraged, this power will keep their fighting spirit going for quite some time, though it is unknown how long this power actually stays in effect or if it even has a time limit at all. Her power is effective enough that she was able to turn the scared, helpless citizens of the Lelugia Kingdom into a fighting force strong enough to successfully beat back the invading Blackbeard Pirates with only sticks. Betty possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the North Army Karasu. Karasu was the commander of the North Army in the Revolutionary Army. Karasu was an honorable man who despises those who attack the weak. He is also very quiet, and he usually communicates via inaudible mumbling, thus he needs his loudspeaker mask to be heard by others. He does not appear to take kindly to people who react negatively to his mumbling, as veins bulged on his forehead in anger when Peachbeard pointed it out. However, he also tends to be forgetful at times as he forgot to turn on his speaker, resulting in his mumbling. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Karasu holds a powerful position within the organization. As the commander of the North Army, he has full control over all the soldiers in it. He has been given a bounty of belly 400 million, showing the world government sees him as a considerable threat. He is a very capable fighter, as he fought against Admiral Fujitora. Karasu ate the Susu no Mi, a Logia-type devil fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform his body into soot at will. He commonly uses this power to mold his soot into the shape of a flock of crows, as well as breaking up his elemental body into crows. His soot crows are able to fly at high speed and can relay information to his allies either by him speaking through them or delivering newspapers. The crows can also be used in combat, able to disarm enemies en masse by snatching away their weapons or by attacking his opponents directly. Additionally, each crow is capable of carrying an average-sized person on its back. He can use his soot in other ways as well, such as building it into constructs. He can fly by transforming his body into soot, even without his crow wings. Karasu possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the G Army Emporio Ivankov. Emporio Ivankov, or Iva for short, is the queen of the Kamabakka Kingdom, known as Okama King and a miracle person, and is a commander of the Revolutionary Army, commanding the G Army, which covers the Grand Line. Alongside Monkey D. Dragon and Bartholomew Kuma, he is one of the army's founding members. He is also a former slave of the world nobles. He was formerly a prisoner of Impel Down, where he was kept in level 5, but lived in the secret Okama Paradise in level 5.5. After escaping Impel Down and participating in the Summit War of Marineford, he returned to his post as Queen of Kamabakka Kingdom. Being one who follows the way of the Okama, Iva strongly values friendship and bonds above all else. He seems to find great motivation at helping both friends and subordinates and is ready to put his life on the line for their sake, as seen when he flew into a rage against Kuma when the latter attacked his candies. Due to this trait, Ivankov willingly saved Luffy and Bentham when they were on the verge of death after being touched by Luffy's selflessness and pleading to save Bentham. He also believes that people should be what they want to be, whether it be a man, woman, or Okama. He is very loud and open, even perverse, about his ideals as well. He does not care about other people's objections to his views, as was seen when he even turned a man who tries to kill him into a woman, after the man, now woman, was embarrassed by his ordeal and had previously stated he objected to Ivankov's views. He states that as a prisoner of Impel Down, he is not such a good person as he would not save someone's life. However, when touched by the words of friendship and hope, he considers their life worth saving. He is considered the greatest Okama in the world. As queen of Kamabakka Kingdom, Iva controls an island of male transvestites, which gives him a similar status on par with Boa Hancock, who rules over Amazon Lily. In Impel Down, he set up his new kingdom, or queendom, called New Kama Land and commanded a small army of New Kama Okama followers, all of whom were former prisoners. Following the war, he returned to Kamabakka Kingdom along with his New Kama Land followers, uniting his two king/queendoms. As a commander of the revolutionaries, Iva has control over the lower-ranking members of the army. He appears to have considerable skills as a leader, evident by his ability to unite the ragtag group of unruly inmates that strayed away and eventually found themselves in New Kama Land under his command. In contrast to his rather comical appearance, Ivankov is a powerful fighter should the need arise. His strength is great enough to allow him to fight on equal terms with the completely transformed pacifista, warlords of the sea Bartholomew Kuma. Ivankov ate the Haro no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit which allows him to create a variety of special hormones that can alter the recipient's body in any way he desires, effectively allowing him to remodel a human from the inside. He can also turn his fingers into syringes, which he uses to inject the hormones into a target's body, including his own body if he desires. With this power, he can freely alter any of the recipient's physical aspects, including sex, growth, skin pigment, stamina, emotions, and many other things. This power led him to be known as the miracle person. This is not accurate, however, as Ivankov himself stated that his hormones are not a miracle cure-all and can have potentially deadly side effects if overused. Ivankov can inject hormones into himself, granting him physical characteristics that are advantageous to him in combat. He can greatly enlarge the size of his head to greatly enhance the power of his signature held wink technique, and he can transform himself into a woman, making her body soft and flexible, rendering her resistant to blunt force. He can also create adrenaline hormones that can give the recipient a power boost, allowing them to continue fighting even if they are exhausted. Ivankov is an extremely powerful grandmaster of a martial art called the Nukama Kenpo. Ivankov could injure Chief Warden Magellan before losing to his poison ability, and during the Marineford War, Ivankov was practically the first, and probably the only one, to actually harm Kuma throughout the extent of the battle. Ivankov's trademark technique is the death wink. His death wink is powerful enough to shatter steel traps. This attack is often powered up by Ivankov's devil fruit, using it to increase the size of his own head, creating the more powerful hell wink. Commander of the East Army Ginny. Ginny was the former East Army commander of the Revolutionary Army, having joined the group alongside Bartholomew Kuma 22 years ago, back when they were known as the Freedom Fighters. She was the mother of Jewelry Bonnie. She was previously a slave who was forced to take part in the native hunting competition on God Valley 38 years ago. She and Emporio Ivankov were responsible for orchestrating the God Valley incident as a means of escaping the native hunting competition. She was captured by the world government and became a wife to a world noble. After contracting the sapphire scales disease, Ginny was released from slavery and used the little time remaining to her to return to the Sorbet Kingdom with her child, dying as a result. Despite her young age, Ginny was an accomplished thief and an expert at tapping into the transmissions of Den Mushies and transmitting her own messages. As the East Army commander of the Revolutionary Army, 14 years ago, Ginny held authority over the whole battalion. She wielded a rifle during this time. Commander of the Revolutionary Army Bartholomew Kuma. Bartholomew Kuma is a former warlord of the sea, the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, and an officer and founding member of the Revolutionary Army with a bounty of belly 296 million. According to both himself and his daughter Jewelry Bonnie, he is part of a special race. Once feared as an extremely vicious pirate, earning himself the title Tyrant, he is now a human weapon called a pacifista, developed by the scientist Vegapunk. Once Vegapunk finished his modifications on Kuma, the warlord was converted into the first complete pacifista cyborg, with the serial PX0, and mentally died in the process. After protecting the Thousand Sunny for 2 years, Kuma became a slave to rent for the world nobles as punishment until his fellow revolutionaries freed him. Vegapunk also cloned Kuma as Esper, one of the seraphim that were designed to replace the warlords.
Kuma is an enigmatic man who is apparently famous for his fury and cruelty.
Calm and composed, Kuma generally does not speak much unless absolutely necessary and maintains a stoic, robotic disposition at all times.
When talking, Kuma customarily uses the word target in his sentences.
He also tends to ask a person where they would like to go on a holiday before sending them away with his devil fruit ability, often honoring the recipient's request, but will occasionally send them to a place of his own choosing regardless of whether or not he received a reply. In spite of his epithet implying a violent personality, Kuma was said to be a gentleman, according to Sabo, whose kindness earned him great respect from his fellow revolutionaries.
Likewise, Kuma was a very loving father to his only daughter, Bonnie.
Indeed, Bonnie vouched that her father's reputation as an evil tyrant was falsely advertised by the government and that he is in fact a very kind individual. This is further reinforced during the latter portion of the thriller Bark arc, where Kuma displays honor and respect towards Roronoa Zoro for putting his own life on the line for his captain's safety, an act that impressed the warlord enough to give the swordsman a chance to save his own crew, in spite of that conflicting with the mission he was assigned.
There are still several mysteries behind Kuma's character. The details behind his transformation into a pacifista and what exactly it entails are still unknown.
His past as a king and as a child have also been hinted to be quite tragic and horrifying, with Kuma in particular feeling embarrassed about the idea of others delving too deep into his private memories. Although he obeys the commands of the world government, Kuma disagrees with what his superiors deem good and evil in the world. He even goes so far as to speculate that Blackbeard's acceptance into the warlord ranks had been a very poor decision by the government, despite the fact that it filled the position left by Crocodile's defeat.
However, Kuma's loyalty does not extend to the Marines.
This can be seen when he declines to answer a direct question from Admiral Kizaru during the Sabaody Archipelago arc due to his refusal to assist the Marines without a direct order. Kuma did not hesitate to lie when it came to his victory over the Straw Hat Pirates at Sabaody Archipelago.
At present, however, Kuma's modifications have been completed.
In the finalization of the Pacifista project, Kuma eventually lost his free will, personality and memory to the modifications, in order to ensure his reliability and continuing services towards the world government. In this stage, Kuma shares the same mindless intelligence of his fellow pacifista models, only recognizing individuals as either enemies or allies to the world government. Doflamingo refers to the original personality as being dead, though it was later revealed that Kuma and Dr. Vegapunk, the man responsible for his cybernetic implants, made a secret deal to allow for Kuma to have a temporary relapse by rendering his final free thought as defending the Thousand Sunny. After that, Kuma was relegated to working as a slave to rent and obeying the demands of the world nobles without question.
Prior to his final pacifista modifications, Kuma was an officer in the Revolutionary Army.
As a result, he had control over its lower-ranking members. However, he lost this power when he became a complete slave of the world government. As the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, he once held political power. Kuma ate the Nikyu no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that gave him paw pads on the palms of his hands. These paw pads have the power to repel anything they come into contact with. His paw pads grant him an absolute defense that allows him to protect himself from all physical attacks, even swords. By Kuma's own admission, his paw pads repel things at the speed of light. Additionally, his power to repel is not just strong, it is also focused into a cannon-like blast, enough to create a deep hole through thick stone. His paw strikes can also travel beyond the target, dealing identical damage to anything behind them as well.
Kuma can repel the air itself, attacking his opponent with a cannon-like shockwave.
He can also compress an immense amount of air between his hands into a single small bubble, and then release the air bubble, which explodes as a supermassive shockwave that can decimate an entire island. Possibly the most impressive application of this fruit is that Kuma can send someone flying over vast distances, even across the world and traveling over the course of several days. The victim of this ability is encased in a paw bubble that protects them from and breaks through any obstacles that are in the way of the destination of Kuma's choosing. To an outside observer, the victim appears to vanish.